for me, it really does irritate me that I can make a video I'm very proud of, and then the thing that I don't care about or don't have the eye for, which is thumbnail design, is the thing that lets it down.
And it's the only thing that matters to an extent.
Yep.
It's the only thing that matters. And if you look at the guys that are crushing it in our world of fitness YouTubers, their thumbnails are all of they look the same. I mean, they basically just kind of start to do. It
becomes quite template focused, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they look like. I say that they've all become the same. They become the same because all thumbnail editors end up just gravitating towards what works for Mr. Beast as the
which clearly appeals to a simple part of a human brain.
Indeed, and I was going to say simple brains, and it works. And it's slightly tricky because I would imagine that the age demographic for people watching the typical fitness YouTuber is a bit younger than perhaps my audience. But yeah, it is a frustration. What I do, and this sounds very kind of pompous to have this attitude, but I don't care because it works for me. I imagine that when Martin Scorsese goes and watches Avengers Endgame or something, because he's forced to by someone, because I don't imagine he goes willingly, he has to sit and watch this thing that's generating billions and billions of pounds, and he's, I imagine, watching it not quite understanding why that is in some way regarded by many people as better than whatever, Goodfellas or Casino or something, and he has to just be content with the fact it doesn't matter, he's Martin Scorsese. I do that. I tell myself, if Martin can hold it together while just complete gibberish makes much more money than his films do, then surely I can. And there are many examples of that. I'm watching a documentary at the moment about the guy that created NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys. And it's this guy that basically just kind of throws these kids together and says, sing this daft stuff. And suddenly, they're making huge amounts of money. There must be musicians of all sorts and types all around the world looking at that and thinking, hang on a minute. I started playing classical violin when I was 2 years old, and these kids get thrown together and suddenly they're Justin Timberlake. That's not fair. And again, if they can kind of hold it together under that frustration, then me thinking it's annoying that that here's what I ate in a day video again does better than mine. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast. So it is frustrating, but I find that likening myself to Scorsese and violin virtuosos takes some of the edge off of it.
It's a safe tactic. Completely logical. Not something I consider.
For example, I did the comic Stuart Lee. Has he ever come across your radar, Stuart Lee, comedian?
No.
Stuart Lee he's a great comic, and a lot of British people will know Stuart Lee. And, probably one of the funniest comics I've ever seen, but doesn't get TV work. I mean, he's had TV work, doesn't get much TV work, doesn't get Saturday night game show hosting, but is an incredibly skillful comic, and the sort of almost the opposite of your kind of broad sort of Michael McIntyre kind of thing. And I've heard him talk about this same thing that people say, you're a comedian's comedian, your skill is incredible, and how does it feel to watch whatever, maybe Ricky Gervais just go, I'll be a stand-up now, never having done any of the kind of,
and then I'll be an actor.
Now. Well, indeed, yeah, and how is that? And he's what he says about that is basically how I feel about it, which is that is the nature of the beast, and you have to be if you're content with what you did, then just be content with what you did. There's always going to be better examples of people that should be even more annoyed than you by mediocrity accelerating past their whatever they're producing at a rate that doesn't make any sense.